What is up, everybody? I want to welcome you all back to another Destiny 2 video. My name is James from Zaynomics Gaming. Today I will be going over this week at Bungie for January 28, 2021, and boy is it a doozy. I will leave timestamps below if you guys want to just jump to a specific topic. Now let's jump right into the video. Introducing seasonal challenges. Over the last year, we've been looking at ways in which we can reduce the amount of FOMO in Destiny 2. FOMO is basically fear of missing out. We've recently made some changes to seasons and how seasonal content is available throughout a given year of Destiny 2. This week we're looking to bounties and bright dust, introducing a new system not only to remove FOMO but give fresh ways to earn XP and alternate rewards. To walk us through the ins and outs of seasonal challenges, we pass the mic to the development team. Now, basically, with the seasonal challenges, this will provide a guide to new, returning, and veteran players for what to do this week. Guide the player through seasonal content week over week, and encourages players to engage with complexities and nuances of seasonal activity and rituals. And they also wanted to reduce the penalties on XP and bright dust for missing a given week. So basically, if you decide not to play during week 1 and week 2 and you come back during week 4, you will still have week 1, 2, and week 3 available during week 4. All of those set lists of challenges. So you'll never miss out on those opportunities to pursue that bright dust or those materials. Now, according to Bungie, here's a quick breakdown of how this feature works. Every week for the first 10 weeks of a season, between 3 and 10 new challenges appear automatically for players. Some of the challenges deal with seasonal content, others push players to complete strikes, gambit, and the crucible, or to focus on non-activity focused Destiny rituals, like gaining power, unlocking seasonal artifact mods, or improving guns and armor. Now, that's amazing. They're sitting here saying improving guns and armor. So I wonder what Bungie has in store for us in that regard. Now back to the TWAB. These challenges can only be completed once per account, but once they become available, these challenges can be completed at any time before the end of the season, and you do not need to be started or picked up from a vendor. I guess that's a typo. As an example, if a player doesn't play for 2 weeks, or weeks 2 through 4, they can return on week 5 and have all of those challenges waiting for them. Completing each challenge awards XP, contributing to your season pass ranks. Other rewards could be bright dust, seasonal currency, or other interesting items. Now, according to this TWAB, Bungie plans to move away from weekly bounties, which were restricted to broad objectives tied to ritual activities. We have taken more leeway with creating some interesting or more difficult challenges. These may be things you are already doing or things that will test your ability. Some examples include defeating primeval envoys in Gambit, defeating enemies in Nightfall, the ordeal with seasonal weapons, gaining infamy or valor ranks, acquiring the ritual weapon and its cosmetic ornaments, winning rounds in Trials of Osiris, or completing a Grandmaster Nightfall. Not all the challenges will require that level of accomplishment, but the harder or the longer the challenge is, the more experience it rewards. Challenges that focus on the seasonal activity and ritual mostly need the season pass to complete, but most of the ritual focused challenges can be completed without the seasonal pass. Overall, roughly 60% of the seasonal challenges do not require the season pass. With the changes above, we are removing weekly bounties from the 3 ritual vendors, Zavala, Shaxx, and the Drifter, Banshee 44, and the seasonal vendor. These vendors will still have daily bounties which reward XP, and the 3 ritual vendors will still have repeatable bounties for those of you that want to pursue additional XP and bright dust. Lastly, most of the challenges disappear after the season they were introduced, and anything that isn't claimed will be lost. We don't want to add any new challenges after week 10, which should give everyone a few weeks to clean up any challenges they didn't finish. Any challenge that requires unique or seasonal items, currencies, lore books, seasonal weapons, etc. can be completed as long as the seasonal activity is in the game, but XP awarded for completing the challenge will only be available during the season it was introduced. So basically, they're giving a chance for everyone to complete challenges to gain extra XP and bright dust, and they're also removing that weekly bounty grind from the 3 original ritual vendors. Now we're going to move on to bright dust. Now, in regards to Bright Dust, they wanted to change the way you earn Bright Dust and move more towards account-specific paths to give players with only one character significantly more Bright Dust than they've ever been earning over the last year. In Season 13, we'll be counting to move toward these goals by adding Bright Dust onto seasonal challenges. Since you no longer have to purchase weekly ritual bounties, each of the Strike, Crucible, and Gambit seasonal challenges will reward between 75 and 300 Bright Dust. We are also introducing an end-of-season Bright Dust bonus. If you complete nearly all of the seasonal challenges, we are awarding a single 4,000 Bright Dust pile. Now that is wonderful and all, but I have to wonder, will cosmetics and aesthetics and stuff like that, will they go up in price for Bright Dust? I guess we'll find out in the future or in a future TWAB as we move along. Now, let's continue. Additionally, each ritual vendor challenge, complete 8 bounties, awards 120 Bright Dust for each character who completes it each week. And because this is prompted by the removal of weekly bounties, the only seasonal challenges that will be rewarding Bright Dust are the ones that both season pass owners and free players can complete. Here's a quick breakdown of how much Bright Dust you should expect to earn over the course of Season 13. Seasonal challenges Bright Dust for all players. Free seasonal activities will award 6,000. Seasonal extra will award 4,000. Total, you will receive 10,000 Bright Dust. Season pass Bright Dust. Free path will be 7,500 for all players. Paid path will be 3,000 players who own the season pass, and then a total will be 10,500 Bright Dust. So basically, all the players that do not have the free pass will obtain 7,500. And if you purchased the seasonal pass, you will get an additional 3,000 Bright Dust on top of that. So the total will be, if you bought plus you're getting the additional 7,500 Bright Dust because of the all players category, you'll get 10,500 Bright Dust. So if you're a new light player and you don't plan on buying the seasonal pass, you will only get 7,500 Bright Dust. Now moving on. Weekly Ritual Vendor Challenge Bright Dust. This is for all players. 120 Bright Dust per Ritual Vendor per character per week. 14,040 total if completing all required weekly challenges over the course of Season 13. So if you complete every bounty and every challenge that's in Season 13, you will get 14,040 Bright Dust. That is with the season pass, so don't forget that. Additionally, we still plan to offer weekly and repeatable Bright Dust bounties for seasonal events, giving you a bit more Bright Dust towards desired rewards. As a final note, please be sure to claim all seasonal challenges that award Bright Dust prior to the end of the season. Once the season ends, associated challenges and their Bright Dust rewards will expire and can no longer be claimed. Now, that's fantastic news and everything, but I wonder if ornaments and cosmetics and stuff like that will inflate in price, due to the extra Bright Dust. I guess we'll have to see, just as I said earlier. Now, everybody, we are going through SandBox changes, and I will go over everything with you guys, so please listen up for this. This is very important. Now, here we go. Every season, we have a collection of changes to the Destiny 2 sandbox to spice things up a bit. This season, we're making some targeted changes to weapon archetypes that need some love, as well as beginning some preparations for cross-play. That's right, you heard it, cross-play. Now, in preparation for cross-play, coming later this year, we're making some changes to recoil stat. Currently, several weapon archetypes have the recoil reduced by around 40% dependent on the archetype when using mouse and keyboard. Now, this is crucial. Mouse and keyboard users, you guys will get hit really hard with this. Now, they state here, this results in an issue where players on mouse and keyboard are able to largely ignore the stability weapon stat, creating unintended discrepancies in weapon performance between controllers and mouse and keyboard. The following weapon archetypes will have their mouse and keyboard recoil adjusted closer to controller, reduce the difference between 40 to 20%. Now that is huge. Listen, mouse and keyboard recoil adjusted closer to controller. So now I guess it really won't matter what platform or input you're on. And the changes will occur to auto rifles, scout rifles, submachine guns, hand cannons, and machine guns. In case of pulse rifles, submachine guns, and machine guns, we will also be introducing some buffs. In some cases, these weapons will have less recoil across both controller and mouse and keyboard input methods compared to what's in the game today. Submachine guns are largely outclassed by auto rifles at medium range and by sidearms at short range, with player feedback often mentioning how hard they are to control. To address this feedback, we're introducing the following change. Now listen up, everybody. Reduced camera movement from firing a submachine gun by 24%. Pulse rifles with the mouse and keyboard changes were kicking a little too much. Reduced camera movement from firing a pulse rifle by 7%. Machine guns with the mouse and keyboard changes were kicking a little too much. Reduced camera movement from firing a machine gun by 9.5%. We will pay close attention to how these changes play out when they go live and plan to visit individual archetypes in a future update as needed. Outside of recoil adjustments, we will also be tuning a few weapon archetypes in Season 13. Looking through back-end data and community feedback, we landed on the following buffs. Rocket launchers will receive a buff. It states here, rocket launchers have fallen behind other heavy weapons in most measures of effectiveness. We're pushing them more into a burst damage role. So they decided to increase rocket launcher damage by 30%. Exotic rocket launchers have been adjusted individually and are affected by this change to different degrees. Paired with the buffs to reserves from last season, we are hoping you'll explode many more things in Season 13. Fusion rifle usage is also very low, and they feel like an unreliable choice in the Crucible compared to shotguns. Increased fusion rifle damage fall off start distance based on the range stat, 6% with 0 range, 16% with 100 range. Reduced camera movement from firing a fusion rifle by 9.5%. Breach grenade launcher usage is very low outside of Mountaintop. That's unbelievable. We believe part of the reason is that the loop of the hold the trigger to arm then release to detonate is challenging to execute, particularly since projectiles can bounce off targets if the trigger is held. Breach grenade launcher projectiles will now detonate on impact with a character even if they hold the trigger down. Now, here comes the nerfs. While sniper rifle usage has dropped inside the Crucible, we've observed that it's hard to challenge someone with a sniper rifle. Even if you get the first shot on an enemy, they can often respond and win the fight. So they decided to increase ADS flinch to snipers when taking damage from other players. Swords are extremely dominant in PvE. At this time, 65% of players are using swords for the majority of gameplay encounters inside of Destiny 2. While we are introducing a buff to rocket launchers to make them a bit more enticing, we feel that swords do too much damage compared to other options. Reduce sword damage by 15%. Now moving on to exotic changes and bug fixes. Some exotic weapons lose their buffs when they switch weapons, which is intended. They would also lose their buffs when pulling out your ghost shell, which is not intended. Fix that issue on these weapons: Ace of Spades, Teraba, and the Hawkmoon. Borealis and Hardlight now have a custom quite short animation for switching damage type. Duality: increased damage fall off distance by 1.25 meters while both firing from the hip and aiming down sights. Reduced maximum buff stacks from 7 to 5. Each stack now grants more of a damage bonus. Extended buff duration slightly. Sturm will once again reload any equipped special slot weapon on kill, provided the special weapons clip isn't full already and there's available reserve ammo. Fix an issue that was preventing Merciless from increasing its charge rate on non-lethal hits. Bungie is currently planning to take a quick tuning pass on Arbalest. This won't be ready in time for February 9th, but we are expecting to have this touch later in Season 13. Now we know it can be difficult to understand the scale of buffs and nerfs without having these changes in your hands. Not to mention there will be some new perks for you to hunt as you start navigating content in Season of the Redacted. As always, we're excited to see these changes out in the wild on February 9th, and we'll be eager to hear your feedback. Now, in regards to Crimson Days, each year we look to February as a time to celebrate bonds of friendship throughout the community. Guardians have come to know this celebration as Crimson Days. It was one of our first seasonal events in Destiny 1, a tradition that carried to Destiny 2. While there was great enjoyment of Crimson Days, we feel that it's been missing the mark in terms of quality over the last few years. As such, we have made the decision to discontinue Crimson Days moving forward. So basically, Crimson Days is no more. It will be gone. Apparently everything involved with Crimson Days will be removed from the game and put in the Destiny content vault. That also goes for Crimson Doubles. Now, they do state inside the TWAB that the season of Redacted, they have a lot planned, so I guess we'll see in the future. Now, moving on. Bug tracks. For those who may be new to the TWAB, welcome to the Player Support Report. This section is dedicated to known issues, active investigations, and pending updates for Destiny 2. This is their report on the most frequently reported issues of this last week. Crucible tokens and fragment quests. Due to the updates to the vendor progression system, Crucible tokens and Crucible token gifts are no longer needed and will be deprecated into junk that will delete as a full stack starting in Season 13. Additionally, current stasis fragment quests will be deprecated at the end of the season of the hunt. Players are advised to turn in all Crucible tokens and Crucible token gifts and finish all available stasis fragment quests before Season 13. Now, known issues. While we continue to investigate various known issues, here is a list of the latest issues. Stasis abilities can be difficult to distinguish between enemy and friendly for colorblind players. The Double Trouble Triumph is unobtainable. In the Deep Stone Crypt raid, the augment lockout timer occasionally resets during the final encounter against Taniks. During the final fight against the Sanctified Mine in the Garden of Salvation raid, sometimes a shielded tether box can become tethered instead of the correct glowing tether box. Hunter legs clip through the 10 grab sword Sparrow. In the Last Wish raid, the Shiro Chi puzzle room plates don't work if a Titan bubble or a Warlock well are placed on top of them. The Titan phenotype plasticity helm eye clusters no longer glow red. Weekly and daily elemental kill bounties have stopped rotating off of Void. When overcharging grenades while using the Voidwalker top tree subclass as a Warlock, super energy stops charging. For a full list of emergent issues in Destiny 2, players can review our known issues article. Now, that is your TWAB this week, fellas. Please leave a like and please subscribe to my channel if you enjoy the content. Now, as of right now, that is all the news that we have on Season of the Chosen, aka Season of the Redacted. Please leave me a comment down below what you think of this news. I will greatly appreciate it, and I will respond to each and every one of you. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe. I will see you guys in the next video.